Warning. This program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion advised.
Well, hello once again, my brothers and sisters of Warcraft. It is I, Berserker, and I am back. Yes, this is not just episode 17 of the Unshackled Fury podcast. No. This is the 1-year anniversary show, and this week, well, I'm going to rage on a few things. I'm going to talk about where in the hell have I been for the last month or so, it seems, or 2 months practically. We've got Blizzcon on the horizon. We've got other bits and pieces of news and all that kind of great jazz. So let's fire it up, get right into it, and rage.
Let's rage.
So as I begin here, let me first lay out for you how I put together a typical show. And what it involves is me keeping track of things that I find interesting or funny or stupid or whatever. And I sort of keep a running tally of the stuff that I want to talk about on the next show. So originally I had planned, as it does happen from time to time, where I have something I want to get nuts about and I'll start making some notes and then something else will come up. So that falls by the wayside. And in this case, there's a third thing that came up and kind of dropped past it. So just to touch on them real quick. One, I'm really tired of all the fake happiness, stupid bullshit, positivity stuff that's going on. Listen, be positive. It's good. Keep your spirits up. But there comes a certain point when it stops being genuine. And your streams are not always great. Your podcasts are not always great. There's always going to be something. And it's just, it's grating. Just this endless positivity thing is just, it grates on my soul. And maybe it's just because it's black. It's just a black soul, devoid of any goodness and light. I don't know. But I was going to go somewhere there and just the sort of general lack of emotion that seemed to be coming from a certain sect about the Metzen thing, which really just bothered me because it just personally struck me. We're going to look past that. The second thing was seeing all of the various artists that exist out there in the community who complain endlessly about they need money or they need whatever, or they're in dire straits and all these kinds of things, and yet they won't return a simple email to get some free promotion. Listen, I know this show doesn't reach 1 million people or even 1,000 people, probably half that, but it is a bit of a reach. I do have a little bit, so, don't complain that the revenue stream is drying up when you're not taking advantage of all the chances that you have. So there, I've said it. Now, what do I really want to talk about? Well, this is part rage. This is part diary. This is part explanation for where in the hell I have been for not just the last month, but seemingly for the last 2 months. And what I've been dealing with is the greatest of all the bosses that any of us who play Warcraft can ever play. And that is to play against the real-life boss, the RL bosses. As I see it, they come in really 3 forms. There's the life events, there are the health events, and there are the work events. And typically when you have one of those 3, like you have a baby, or in my case, you had a move, that's enough. And then sometimes you change jobs or you get a promotion and you're dealing with other things. Job thing. That's 2. Also have that. 3, you're dealing with a health thing. Some major thing comes up. You're having surgery. I've seen out there, people are having chemo treatment. People are having all kinds of taking care of relatives, all sorts of stuff. That's a little bit of me. So when you put all of this together, I haven't had as much time to delve into not just the game, but to delve into getting into this show and being able to reach out to you, the everyday you and me, the people who I've used every episode to try to reach and to try to entertain. And without having those sorts of outlets, it does get a bit difficult at times. But here is the thing. All of this was geared towards, for the last 2 months, I've been working with my family on the culmination of a dream that is nearly a decade old, of being able to move back to my hometown. And I live in Northern California, and I grew up in a town where the real estate is extraordinarily expensive, as it tends to be in California, but particularly in this area. We were fortunate enough to come into a position where we were able to purchase the house and have a bunch of work done to this house. If you followed my Twitter, you've seen that there's been some updates and things that I've sent out about some painting we've been doing and flooring we've been doing and kitchen work that's been happening and all kinds of stuff that have been going on. And that has taken up the bulk of my time. On top of that, I've had all kinds of stuff going on in my actual professional life. And all of this catches up to the physical issues, which I have detailed long time ago, but essentially fallout from a bad car wreck, stuff does catch up to me, it becomes an issue. So one of the things that I am finding is that it is very difficult to keep up with a new expansion when you are busy doing other things. And the frustration and that feeling, that fear of missing out, what do they call that, FOMO, that feeling while you're trying to accomplish other tasks and other goals. And it's one of the greatest struggles I think any of us as gamers really wrestle with. And it's a nice problem to have, but it can be difficult at times. And so to explain where I've been and what I've been wrestling with this last couple of months is really running down a dream of my own and putting it all together and having to take a step back from doing other things like playing Warcraft and being part of my raid team. I finally got to raid for the first time last night, and it was fantastic and amazing. But sometimes these life events get in the way, and you wrestle with them, and you fight with them, and you try to figure out ways to deal with it, and you're stressing about this thing or that thing, and you're finding time to schedule, and now I've got all of the stuff in game that I've got to deal with, and I'm trying to get my artifact research done, so I'll jump on for a couple hours. Maybe I can do one world quest. I don't know. We'll jump in. But I've got this other thing I've got to take care of. We've got to unpack this thing. I've got to go over here and schedule this work. We've got to get this work repaired, and it just goes on and on and on, and at times things get overwhelming. You feel frustrated, whatever it is. I know that this is something that I have felt now for several months, and I'm so glad to have the outlets that I do like this, like Warcraft, and I appreciate every single one of you who takes the time to listen to this show and to give me feedback and to, quite frankly, give me the support that I've felt over the past year and what has allowed me to continue to do this show. So while there are times when I feel angry and frustrated because I'm dealing with all of the things that come with accomplishing the tough goals that you want to have in your life, I've always felt encouraged and supported by you guys. I've always felt that Warcraft has been the outlet that I need in order to sort of keep myself sane. And although this is my rage portion, I'm coming back with sort of an appeal and a thank you to all of you who have kept the support for me, even while I've taken breaks like this. And I promise that we're going to keep on working, and I'm going to keep on getting better. And there will be times when I have to turn away from things just because I need to have my own peace of mind and my own sanity. But I never lose sight of the fact that I love doing this show. I love reaching out to you guys. And God damn it, I still love Warcraft just as much, if not more, than I did when I first fell in love with it. So that's the rage for this week. I know it's a little softer and a little more lovey-dovey than usual, but that's what I've got. So beyond that, we've got some pretty sweet news on the horizon with BlizzCon looking up just ahead. So let's hit the news.
And now it's time for News and the Blues.
All right, so let's start with the biggest news. The BlizzCon countdown is on. And today, we got our schedule. Yes. Finally, we get to see what it is that we have in store this year for us as the Warcraft fans. There certainly is a jam-packed schedule. I am predicting, and I have said this a few times, I think this has got to be the last year that this is only 2 days. There is just too damn much going on with 5 franchises at this point. Sorry, 6 franchises going at this point. How could I forget? And we're lucky at this point to even be getting what we're getting in terms of Warcraft panels, because Diablo still is getting nothing. So I was hoping for a big Diablo announcement this year. That won't be happening. So what do we get this year? Let's take a look. On Friday, so that's Friday, November the 4th, for us Warcraft folks, we do have the opening ceremony, which starts at 11. God only knows what that's going to be, considering that Metzen is gone. It doesn't look like we have any major announcements, at least from what we can tell from the scheduling. There's no major gaps. There's no mysterious panels that show up in the schedule. So it looks like it's going to be, my guess is, a lot of retrospective stuff. It's the 10th BlizzCon anniversary, right? And it's also the 25th Blizzard anniversary. So it's going to be very nostalgic, which I have no problem with. I'm a big nostalgia guy, right or wrong. So my guess is that's probably what we're going to see there. As far as Warcraft itself goes, we are getting a Legion What's Next panel at 2:45 at the main stage. That's on Friday, the 4th, November the 4th. That's the first day. We are also getting a Your Class, Your Champions panel at 1 o'clock on the voice actor stage. And my guess is that's going to be various voice actors that are our champions and talking about how it works, what the recording process is like, what they don't like. I don't know. Not a good opportunity to put a face to a voice and see what these guys are actually like. It's a very interesting career, I suppose, having voiceover work. Seems like it'd be a pretty good job to me. I don't know. I don't know if I'd have the patience for it, but it sounds like a lot of fun. But that's it. That's all we get. That on the opening day, you only have 2 Warcraft panels. The good news is it does pick up on Saturday. So on Saturday, November the 5th, the first panel that we will have is a Legion design retrospective at 1 o'clock on the main stage, followed up with a cinematics panel at 2:30 on the panel stage. If you are not there at the event, all of this stuff is going to be available on the live stream. So if you haven't ordered that and you want to see it, I highly recommend it. I've done it many, many years. This is only the second BlizzCon that I will have gone to this year. I've ordered all of the rest on DirecTV and done the various feeds, and it's worked out pretty damn well. Plus, you can go back and watch some of the panels later on that you weren't able to catch while they were live. This may be one you want to check out because we all know that Blizzard cinematics are the best. I've seen some other franchises that are pretty damn good, but for my money, Blizzard is still the tops. They've got a kick-ass team. They continue to do well. The the cinematic, the in-game cinematics that they've been working on, much better. A lot different than the old days. Keep getting better all the time, especially with the Illidan stuff. It's been pretty amazing, so that'll be fun to watch. And of course, you cannot forget the end-all, be-all panel of all BlizzCons, the Warcraft Q&A, which, if you've listened to this program from the very beginning, you know how I feel about the Q&A. I feel like it's the best one, but god damn it, do people ask some stupid, stupid questions. So, just as a courtesy to reach far back into the origins of this show, if you are lucky enough to ask a question at BlizzCon, do yourself a favor, do all of us a favor, make it a good question. Don't waste it asking some mundane, inane thing that nobody gives a shit about but you and your one friend that you argue with about this trivial thing. Find a good question to ask. I'm going to throw that plea out there. But that's at 4 o'clock, main stage, on Saturday the 5th. There will also be 2 art panels going on during the day, one at 10 and one at 3:30. I don't know if those are going to be streamed. There's nothing on the schedule necessarily saying that. One of the things that I have noticed is that now I thought that they had opened the entire convention center to this to BlizzCon, but apparently the 3rd floor of the convention center was still yet to be opened up some more. So now there's going to be a whole Dark Moon Fair art thing going on the 3rd floor. So I'll check back with everybody after the show and let you all know what that looks like. But the art panels will be going on up on that 3rd floor. So if you end up attending, now you know where to go. So besides the Q&A, the other big thing for me, without a doubt, is who is going to be the closing ceremonies band. Now here we are. It is October the 13th. We still don't know who it's going to be. It should be dropping it any day now. But what I've gone and done is I've looked through various scheduling that popular bands have, what I think typically is these sort of rock-ish acts that could show up there, and what their availability is for BlizzCon. So here's a list of people that I've put down that I think are the potentials. We have the Foo Fighters, who did a BlizzCon years ago. We have Rush, who people seem to be very high on. We have Black Sabbath, who will be, I believe, in the neighborhood. Green Day, who is currently on tour and doesn't have anything scheduled that day. Alice Cooper is going to be in the neighborhood that week, and granted, he's a little bit older of an act, but you never know. He might vibe with the Demon Hunter thing. Sort of have a wild card in that Bon Jovi is around again. They're about to launch a tour, and, this could be a good practice show, sort of like what Blink-182 did. And, I looked, because I see this every year. Skrillex, sorry everybody, Skrillex is booked. Yeah, we're actually going to have to listen to something else. No techno yet. Sorry, not going to happen. I did look at, because this is an anniversary show in a way, this is my anniversary show, so I'm sort of thinking and nostalgic on my own, but we also have the 10th anniversary for BlizzCon, we have the 25th anniversary for Blizzard, so I looked back at some of the acts that they have had in the past. Offspring was the very first one that they had. They could be available for the show. Elite Tauren Chieftain, they're going to play. They have to play. There's just no way around that. Video Games Live was one that they did one year. They will not be available. Black Sabbath, we already talked about. Tenacious D, good act. They're still around. And they're doing a little bit of press these days, so it's possible. But of all these bands, of all the bands that I've looked at, there is one act who I think, now this would not be my preference, I'll be honest with you, but there's one act who I could see very much playing at BlizzCon. They're going to be playing in LA 2 days before, so that Thursday night before. They're a geeky band, they got that nerdy vibe, and it is Weezer. Now, I did see, I had a little, I didn't have a conversation, but I saw on Twitter, and I did reply to somebody about how they thought that Weezer was playing somewhere else that night. I could not find anything, so that is my guess. I think Weezer is the band. I wouldn't mind seeing Black Sabbath. Certainly, anybody that knows me knows I'm a metal guy through and through, so that is always my preference. Having seen Metallica at BlizzCon, it's not going to get any better for me. I understand that, and I fully admit that. But that would be my guess. But we'll see. We'll see. It could happen any minute. Whatever it is, we'll be there to have a good time. And speaking of music, there is one other note that I'll make, is that if you are attending BlizzCon, one of the things that they have announced is that on Friday night, they're going to be having a Blizzard 25th and Diablo 20th anniversary party outside the Hilton with Songhammer, which some of you may remember from the talent contest. These are the metal guys that have like the big outfits and stuff. They're kind of like Guar Light a little bit. Songhammer's going to be out there performing with food trucks, and which the food trucks, frankly, they're parked out there all weekend, and they're delicious and amazing. And God, as a big dude, I can't wait to just gorge myself endlessly on all the food truck action going on out there. But that will be going on Friday night. So if you're there, I know there's a ton of other parties going on. I think that one's worth checking out, at least to get a bite, get some good music in your ears, and then, party the night away, really. And before I leave this particular topic, one other thing that I did want to talk about is the BlizzCon merchandise that I have seen. They did have a pre-sale this week for anyone that had bought either, I think, the virtual ticket or physical tickets. And in reviewing this merchandise, there's just one thing that comes to mind. No more Pepe. I have had enough Pepe. If anything, this should have been my rage topic for the week. I have had just about enough of seeing that fucking bird everywhere. Everywhere I look on Twitter, I see, mainly it's one person. But it's Pepe this, and there's Ninja Pepe, and there's Pepe over here, and there's Pepe on this one's head, and there's Pepe doing this thing, and oh my god, now there's 19 different Pepe plushes, and I've had enough. I've had enough. No more Pepe. It's had its run. Warlords was great. Leave him in his tree. Burn the rest of the plushies. I don't care. It's just, I've had enough. Now, the Corehound bobblehead, I'll take one of those. So that's the rundown on BlizzCon for now. We are only 22 days away, and by the time you're listening to this, it's probably going to be 21 or less. So it is right around the corner. You can feel the heat coming off the Twitter feeds of all the Blizzard devs getting nervous about, 1, having to get their presentations together, 2, having to face us, and then 3, just the sheer madness that hits once the event starts. But we're all looking forward to it. I know I certainly am. And can't wait to get down there and see everybody and have a damn good time. But on top of that, we do have a few other things that have been going on. By the time this podcast loads, it'll be Friday, October the 14th. And on this Friday, there will be a live developer Q&A with Ian Hazzikostas, however you say it, on patch 7.1. This is the Karazhan patch that's coming with the new dungeon that's got all the reimagined stuff, and it looks like we're going to be doing all kinds of crazy things in there. And it'll give you a chance to take a look at the insights of them and what they've been up to, what the design ideas are, and where we'll be going next. I know in particular for myself, I am very interested in finding out how I can get my Nightbane mount. They're calling it the, Smoldering Ember Worm mount, but it's basically Nightbane. And for anybody that did Karazhan back in the day, back when it was real true content, that'd be pretty satisfying to tame that fool and ride him in the skies of Azeroth and beyond, just to say that, this guy's my bitch. I'm gonna ride him everywhere. That would be, even all these years later, that would still be pretty satisfying. And as a quick update, Ian Hazzikostas has now been promoted to the lead of Warcraft since Tom Chilton just today announced that he will no longer be working on Warcraft, but will instead be working on something else for Blizzard that he has not named. For those of you keeping track at home, for the Blizzard Deadpool, that does not count. He did not leave Blizzard. This does not count. You can't claim that as a victory. So if you have not entered, by the way, by God, this is the easiest contest anybody is running on any podcast in the land. I promise you this. If you have not already, email me at unshackled.furyshow@gmail.com with your pick and the date, or follow me on Twitter at BerserkerRage and just send me a message. Just all you have to do, pick one of the names, and you can listen to the last couple episodes to get the list. Pick a name, give me a date. That's it. And you can get 6 months of time and a pet and a mount from the store of your choice. It's pretty easy, guys. This is pretty easy. If you have taken the time to listen to me this far and have downloaded this show, you can send a message. It's the easiest podcast contest that you could possibly want. So you're only hurting yourself, people. And I'm looking at the list of entries right now. There's a lot of room here. A lot of room. Get yourselves in there. We've had some names, a bunch, already drop off the list. So it's coming hot and heavy. Don't think you can't win. Get it to me. So beyond Mr. Hazzikostas doing his dev Q&A, one of the things that I've noticed a couple of times is that some of the developers have noted publicly that there are still some things that we have not discovered, particularly with respect to some of the hidden artifact appearances, but I'm really enjoying the fact that there are things that they are keeping hidden from us. If it's one of the things that I felt has kind of been a bit of a letdown in recent years with websites like Wowhead, is that there really isn't a lot left to discover. For some of us older veterans, we'll say, we remember sites like Alakazam and Thoughtbot. Those were not anywhere near as professionally well done as what Wowhead is today. A lot of it was just information that was put together by the community. For God's sakes, the Ashbringer threads alone were just worth the read for entertainment. So for the Blizzard developers to be able to come up with a way to keep some of this information hidden from us, I really have to commend them, because it brings back a sense of mystery and a sense of exploration that I feel has been missing from the game for quite some time, particularly with respect to some of our artifacts. Those are new, but that feeling of not exactly knowing how to do something, how to put these puzzles together. There was a way to summon one of the world bosses that was put together recently, and it was very convoluted and difficult and crazy. And it's perfect because that's what an MMO was supposed to be. So seeing some of these tweets coming out over recent weeks and months where they kind of hint at the fact that not everything has been discovered, I enjoyed that quite a bit. And now that we are some time removed since the launch of Legion, the first raid, Emerald Nightmare, has been out for some time. And the Mythic raiding race, that went awfully fast. I know that this is the first raid of the expansion, but it seems like, and I don't know, maybe it's undertuned, maybe I have a different perspective than I used to or something, but the fact that the Mythic raiding race lasted less than a day? 17 hours, according to, I was talking with some guildmates on my team, on my raid team last night, and I thought it was 2 days, but apparently it was only 17 hours, and that is astonishingly fast, considering that in years past it's typically taken somewhere closer to a week for the first raids. Now, I'm not talking about some of the later ones which take quite some time, end of expansion type raids, which are typically pretty brutal, but less than a day. That is one that's impressive. Good job by those teams. But two, my God, that is, I don't know. I'm glad it's not as difficult. That's good news for me and my team. We are not Mythic Raiders. Good team, solid team, but it ain't like that. So it gives me a little bit of hope that we'll be able to get through there pretty soon. So Mythic race, already done, already through it, and I guess we'll just wait for the next one to come out here in 7.1. It'll be a small one, but get a little Stormheim action, a little Vrykul action. That'll be fun. And one more thing before I wrap up this news section. Do not forget, just in case, listen, you want a little break from the World Quest grind or whatever else you're working on, we do have time walking going on this week. We have Outland, and that is going to be up until October the 18th. So if you need a little break, want to go see some of the old content, maybe kick some Legion ass from a day gone by, hit up your Outland time walking and have a good time. So that's it for the news, and now let's get into a little bit of what I'd call sentimentality and retrospective. So like I said at the top of the show, this is the 1-year anniversary of Unshackled Fury. And in fact, on this day, right now, as I record this, this is the actual 1-year anniversary of the show being online. And as I said from the beginning, the origin of this show was that I had sampled the podcast landscape, the streaming landscape, just the general community sphere that we have today in Warcraft, and I really felt like what was missing was something for the average everyday player, not the Mythic Raider, not the super high ranking PvP player. There's plenty of websites and podcasts and streams that are dedicated to all of that, and it felt like there just wasn't a voice for the rest of us. Over the last year, I've tried to do that. I've tried to be as honest and forthright and forthcoming about this experiment that I'm running. And I really do see it as that. The different shows that I've done, whether it's been about erotic fanfic, whether it's been a little thing about Mike Morheim, whether it's been the Varian Memorial, which people received very well, thankfully. I've always tried to do something just a little bit different because I'd either never seen it done before or was something that interested me. Be quite frank, some of the things that I've done on this show have not interested anybody but me. But, as I've said a couple of times, it's worth a try. And that's the one thing that I never want this show to be, is about barriers or borders of the things that I can or cannot say. And in the time that I've done this, yeah, there's been a little bit of controversy. I did make some noise about some of the activities of one podcast and some folks in particular who I felt were selling themselves short and selling the rest of us short in terms of what they were able to do and why. And I did get a little bit of uptick in activity, and as a result, I was able to be in communication with a few more people than I probably would have otherwise. And that's kind of been the ebb and flow of this adventure, is that it's a very solitary kind of thing. I create all of this on my own. I put it out on my own. It's all risk, all reward kind of thing. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way because I'm just that much of a screwball that I want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, it's only self-inflicted wounds. So I'm the only one who takes the heat. But I'm also, listen, I have an ego too, and I'm the one that reaps the benefit. Granted, I think the very best thing I've done on this show in the year that I've done it was just 2 shows ago, which was when I did the Varian Memorial, and I have to thank Navox, who's been a longtime supporter of this show, friend of mine, and his wife, who did some great work for me to help with that episode, with that show that I did. And that is another thing that I've learned as I've done this show, is you can't always do it on your own. As much as I try, as much as I want to make sure that I'm the one that's responsible for what happens, there are people that help you along. And there are 2 people who I do want to thank immensely for getting me out there and for supporting me as they have. One of them being Salmisis, who is a longtime friend of mine. She was on my raid team several years ago, and she is one of the hosts of the Converted podcast. All great people on that show. And she has gone around and on more than one occasion espoused the virtues of this show, let's say. And I really do appreciate everything that she has done to help me and to help this show and to get the word out. So, Sal, thank you. Thank you for being a friend and for always being behind what I'm doing here. The other person that I would like to thank is Ro from the Realm Maintenance podcast. And he took a risk by having me on the show, and this was not too long after I had my Stop Whining episode, which generated a little bit of heat, shall we say. And he took a risk. Being a relative nobody, he put me on his show, and I thought we had a great conversation, an honest conversation about the state of podcasting, who I am, what I'm about, what each of us thinks about various topics, and I really do appreciate him reaching out. So, Ro, thank you, and thank you as well for also getting the word out there about the Varian Memorial. I really did appreciate that very much, and your kind words meant a lot. So, thank you, and I'll owe both of you any amount of beers you want to drink at Blizzcon on me. I already owe somebody for my stupid Sharks who can't win a Stanley Cup, so I'll just add it on to my tab. Of course, I have a number one fan who... my boy Hannibal, who's been with me in life and in game through thick and through thin. And, buddy, I always appreciate you being there for me. And I can't wait till we make the trip this year again to BlizzCon. We're going to have a kick-ass time. So thank you as well. Our families are tied at the hip forever. So we'll just keep on trucking down that road. So that's the past. Looking at the things that I've done and the people that have helped, and the people that have been there. And looking forward now, I think we'll keep doing this show. I think we'll keep going on with it. Like I've said, it is an experiment, and I don't know what will come of it, where it will go, what it will end up being. But I don't feel as though I've done enough yet. I think that there's still far more to explore. I feel that Warcraft is hitting another stride, a second renaissance, if you will. I think Legion is, if not the finest product they have put out for Warcraft, it is damn near one of the top. And this is a great time for us to be players and fans of Blizzard, of Warcraft, of all the franchises. And I want to be a part of that. And I want to be here with you guys talking about it, giving my spiels about whatever nonsense it is that's important to me. One of the things that I do want to try to do is, one of the things that I've tried to do and have yet to be successful, but I'll keep hammering on it, is having more guests. I do think that it does get boring listening to me. At this point, you've probably been listening for about 30 minutes of me talking nonstop, and I don't even like listening to myself talk that long. So in the next year, I'm going to continue working on getting more guests because I would love to have some conversations. Listen, Noxie Chu, you, artist lady, I'd love to have you come on and talk about butts. So there's one. Love to talk to you, lady. And this is a safe place to talk about butts. So I'm just throwing that out there. But that'll be one of the goals for this show. The second is to continue to work on the quality of this program. If it's one of the tenets of this show is to prove that anybody can do this. And that's one of the biggest things for me, is that I'm just a regular fan. I'm just a player. I'm not even that good. I'm just a casual. I mean, I'm a little more than casual, but I'm just one of the faceless people in the crowd, and I'm able to put this thing together, and at least somebody is out there listening to it, and to continue to hone my own skills, to bring you something that's quality, to change things up, to bring back segments that you enjoy, to continue to create and think of new ones, and to push my creative limits and boundaries. Those are the things that I want to continue to do. Yes, there will be times when it is R-rated or X-rated, and yeah, I'm probably going to piss off a couple more people as time goes on, but I still feel like there is a place in the landscape and the community for that, to have open and honest discussion. When I screw up, when Blizzard screws up, when somebody else screws up, I think it's worthy of talking about. And we can't all just hide behind this, endless positivity and friendliness thing. And sometimes we got to get real. Sometimes we got to talk about things that are uncomfortable. But I feel like it's good for the community. It's good for us. Hell, it's good for me. I'll be honest with you. It's something that I enjoy doing. So all in all, this last year has been one of the most incredible in my life, both personally, professionally. I've come to find that being able to do this podcast, to have a voice, to put it out there, to be part of this community, however small it may be, but to be a part of it has been exhilarating in so many ways. And to bring all of you on this journey with me, because at the end of the day, if you're listening to this and you're listening to me, you are part of my Furian army. And I take any and all who want to join. So thank you again for listening to Unshackled Fury. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at Berserker Rage. You can always send me any messages you want, love, hate mail, or beyond, to unshackledfuryshow@gmail.com. You can always find this show on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And thank you again for listening. That's 1 year down, and let's get on and see what's next. Strength and honor to you all, my friends.